Suraj Punjabi. You wore your nice shirt for me and everything. Look at this.
Hello, old friend. How are you?
How you going?
Damn. What's up with the beard, man?
Damn. What?
What's with your beard, dude?
Um, Once a year I gotta
Did you have a
shave it
beard
off.
wax as well?
No, I couldn't do that, man. That would be insanely painful. Um, no, once a year I just shave it off,
Oh, God.
get some
Goodness.
sunlight on my skin. Otherwise it gets all withered and
Mm.
horrible under there, and you get really like you don't
This looks like I'm talking to 2018 John, the one who haven't grown any balls yet.
How are your balls these days?
It's getting bigger now.
Good. Okay. So normally I stop the recording and do some kind of a preamble, but this time I'm not because I like that. This is my old friend, Suraj Punjabi, one of the people I've known longest since I got into the direct response business, also a copywriter who comes from the old school, face to face, belly to belly, knock on your door and spin you a line school of proper selling, proper salesmanship, the real deal. Yeah. Not this just being a closer who sits on, who gets hot leads fed to him, poured into his mouth all day long. He's out there generating his own leads the hard way, having rocks thrown at him, having dogs chase him down the street. And that's how he got to be so well, smart, capable, experienced, and a bloody good copywriter too. So, Suraj,
well, fingers crossed.
Yourself.
I try.
Ask a little bit about yourself.
Excuse me?
Introduce yourself. People are going to watch this.
Okay, introduce myself. Okay, man, I was not ready for this. Okay, my name is Suraj Punjabi. I'm from Indonesia. I've been a copywriter for 3 years. Started in 2020 when COVID hit the fan and I couldn't travel, didn't know what to do. So started copywriting. Started looking for jobs on Upwork. And then went to Facebook because somebody told me Facebook is full of awesome people. He wasn't wrong because I met John Caprani. And, that's how the story started. Yeah.
Okay. So
the rest is history.
When was the first time you typed how to make money online into Google?
Oh, well, oof. You got a minute?
Plenty. I've got 45 minutes just for you, my friend.
Okay. So I actually started thinking about making money online way back when in 2013, 2014. But it was not copywriting. I was basically into blogging. I always loved like writing stuff. And at that time there was like, blogging was like you could earn money from Google ads and all that. So I started blogging on this page called Hub Pages. Mm-hmm. So you can post your blogs and you can get paid through Google ads. So I was earning a lot back then. I was earning a grand total of $0.01 per month, which is amazing at that time. Yeah. I had like 2 Lambos and Ferraris in my dreams. So I started there. Anyway, and the Hub Pages community back then was quite thriving. And there was this one guy, I don't remember his name anymore. He used to post a lot of blogs, like almost every day. And there was this one blog he wrote down, and it said like how to earn money as a writer without being an author, without being a bestseller. Because most people, especially me back in those days, my thought was, okay, the only way you're going to make serious money as a writer was to become an author, write a novel and all that thing, become a bestseller. So I was like, okay, interesting. There are many different ways. And he had a list, and one of them was copywriter. And like, I read about it. I was like, okay, interesting. But I never did anything about it. Like, it was there in the back of my mind, but I never thought of doing all this, like going on Upwork and all that and start copywriting. Anyway, that was 2003. But I was quite busy with my work as well. I was pretty active as a salesman. Then 2020 hit the fan. I had nothing to do. I couldn't travel. Sales, lockdown, shut down, everything. And somehow my brain, I remembered about copywriting. Oh, okay, that copywriting thing. I remembered back in the day. Okay, let's try that. Let's see what the fuss is all about. So I just Googled copywriting, and okay, so I then an ad about a copywriting course came. It was like a Udemy copywriting ad. copywriting course. This was like, I think, I don't know, $5, $10. And I paid for that copywriting course, and I was sweating bullets because for me back then, $10 was like, oh fuck, I just paid $10 online. What am I going to tell my wife? I didn't bother telling my wife about this. How am I going to tell her? So it looks funny now, but back then it was not. So I made it a point that, look, I'm gonna do this course, and I'm gonna make sure I make my money back from it. And after 2-3 months of like, I learned the course, I took notes, and I just went to Upwork and started hustling over there. I didn't get a job for like 2-3 months, and then I got a job, and it was like $10, 3 emails, $10 each, so that's 30. So I made 3 times the amount I invested in this course. And I was like, oh, okay, finally, yes, I got my money back. And this man was kind enough to help me beyond this, the first client. Like, he even referred me to a client of his, and he told me like, hey, you want this? I have this client which I want to let go, and he can pay you a grand total of like $100 for every assignment. It's like, wow, really? That's awesome. $100. That's amazing. So I did that. He referred, and I did a couple of work over there. And I was keeping in touch with my first client. He said, you know what, why don't you go to Facebook? There's like these job boards and all that. So I started posting, and then I met you. And yeah, so that's how I started, basically. That's how I started my copywriting journey
When
in
you
a nutshell.
first like made some money, because I'm, I don't know how well understood copywriting is where you live. I know here in Ireland it's not super well understood. And actually,
Nobody knows what copywriting is, and I have no interest in explaining it to the people around me, honestly.
I'm going to say it's not 100% true. People around 2020, people had heard of Dan
Yeah.
Locke because of all the YouTube ads. So they kind of like, they'd say, oh, like Dan Locke, if you ever mention copyright. It's like,
I think,
kind of like Dan
and
Locke.
yeah.
And at the time, being relatively new, I was like, well, Dan Locke maybe isn't the best representative of the industry. But now I realize with mature.
Fun fact, actually, my parents don't even know that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
They don't even know I'm doing copyright until now.
Wow.
They don't even know, yeah.
We can get into that in just a moment. But mature recollection, Dan Locke is the perfect representative of our industry.
Yeah.
He is,
I found out about Dan Locke after knowing copywriting, actually. A lot of people actually use Dan Locke as their gateway to copywriting. For me, it was like the total opposite of copywriting.
Yeah, he was definitely a gateway drug for a good long period there.
Exactly, he was a gateway drug. That's a nice way to put it.
So to this day, your family, or you said your parents, your wife clearly knows, and your kids have some understanding of what you do with the copywriting, but your parents don't know that you do copywriting at all. So do you actually like still keep like 2 things going on? Do you have a day business and a night business? How do you balance it all?
Yeah, so I do have a day business. I actually work in my family business, but the good thing is it's a family business, and I'm the golden boy, so I kind of have a leeway. So I tend to also like do my copy work wherever I'm at work as well. I get that opportunity. I also still travel. I'm starting to travel again, actually, now that COVID is not very prevalent anymore. So I'm kind of doing traveling, but yeah, I'm getting adjusting to traveling while working as well. So I have to manage the time. Time is a big issue for me, definitely.
So you're on the road actually, like with your sales business and going around visiting clients around the country.
But not that often. Not that often, because honestly, the market nowadays is really not as it used to be. Like COVID really put a kibosh in it, and I don't know if it's ever going to back, which is why I'm actually taking copywriting quite seriously right now.
So that's good. Do you feel like you haven't been taking it as seriously up to this point?
Oh no, I have.
I think you have. You have.
I
You're
definitely have, but extra serious. I'll tell you one thing. When I started copywriting before I met you, I had no intention of actually using copywriting to transition from my old job to copywriting and all that. I never had. For me, it was like, okay, it's just another side income while because my salary was going down. We were not getting paid full salary. I said, okay, this thing can at least help me, can supplement my income. I always thought of it as a way to supplement my income. But I met you, and what you did, you like, I don't know
Poisoned
how
your
the
mind.
conversation happened. It's because of you. If my dad asked, why are you quitting? I'm going to talk to John Caprani. John Caprani is the one responsible for all this shit.
This Irish Gora bastard poisoned my mind.
Gora bastard, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We were having some really deep conversations back when I met, and you were like talking about my dad and how like I never mentioned to anyone that I really didn't like my job, because I for me it's like my mentality is, okay, fine, this is my fate. South Indian, you continue your family's like in my fate. But then you spoke me, hey, you know what? You can actually make money from copywriting, and you can like just transition. If you don't like your job, like screw it, man. Just make your own money. And it's like, holy shit, yeah. So that's when that brain worm started coming into my brain. I was like, yeah, I can. This is my escape here. This is not my fate. This is like, all right, I can do this shit. And the thing is, there's like, what do you call it? Proof of proof of concept, because like you see so many people on Facebook having success as a copywriter. And
Yes.
it's like you automatically think that, okay, yeah, this is actually achievable, because there's a lot of people like me who's actually doing this. It's not something like Tesla, which is like so out of reach, or Elon, or like Bill Gates. You can't think that. But if you think people on your own level who can actually make it, you automatically start to think, your mentality starts shifting. It's like, okay, yeah, this is also possible for me. I can also do this. A lot of people are in the same boat as me. So that was when I got convinced, like, okay, I should take this thing seriously, and I should use this as my escape from that job, which I don't like.
And
Yeah.
copywriting is good in that sense. I mean, look, it's been
Yeah.
oversold as a biz op in recent years, and it's not a biz op. But for
Yeah.
someone who actually likes to read and likes to write, then it's a perfectly good way to, and maybe doesn't have the inclination to become a published author and write a bunch of books. It's a very good way to generate, at the very least, a side income. And if you take it seriously, it does have the opportunity to become your main thing. And it's a transition point as well into sort of being more like broadly somebody who works with people on their marketing and consults them on their business growth and those kinds of things too.
Yeah, it definitely helps in that. That's true. That's true.
So up to now, where do you get clients? Who do you work with? I mean, you said it's unknown in your local market. So how have you access to the markets?
No, local markets, like you mean the market in Indonesia, I have no relationship at all. All my clients like basically come from referrals. So I get to know people, and basically I don't know, I posted this thing in the beginning of the year that I was out of a job. I got an in-house gig. I was out of it. Back then, I used to find jobs basically on job boards and I don't know, other things. But what happened back then was, when I was out of a job, I posted a job posting in Cult of Copy. And my old friend actually approached me and said, hey, I'm working with you and they're looking for a copywriter. And from then on, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to stick to referrals. Like, I'm going to start connecting to people. And right now I'm working with 2 clients, and like both of them are from referrals. Yeah. I mean, it's really just the best, because it's like, so it's much easier, because it's like a warm lead when you get it from a referral. It's not a cold lead, right?
I love referrals. Pretty much all my business comes from referrals and inbound.
Yeah. The key is consistency, though. You really gotta keep the relationship going.
Yes.
That's the key, really. The consistency is there.
That's one side. The other side, and the one I think that's kind of misunderstood, where people say, oh, referrals, some people will say referrals suck, the referrals are shit. And the reason they feel that way is referrals are very source dependent. If you are working with a crappy client, they're only going to ever give you crappy referrals. Like if there's somebody who's a tightwad, who doesn't like to spend money, who's flaky and difficult to do business with, the people they know, their friends are going to be just like them. So if you've got a client who's actually a good, successful business owner, who's consistent, who pays their bills on time, who's just a nice person to be around and easy to work with, they will have similar friends. So it's the key thing is like drive the referrals from somebody you like working with, and you'll do very well.
Yeah. It also doesn't hurt that you add John Caprani as a friend.
Well, maybe a little bit of help, but not all that much.
Come on, don't be so humble.
So you did an in-house job earlier this year for a few months, and then I know you posted about that ended. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but how did you manage to balance that actually also working in your sales business in the daytime too? Because that's a full-time engagement.
Yeah, you mean about my old job, which I quit
Your
the early in of the year,
Yeah, the job that
the
you're
one I
no longer
lost.
in, the
Yeah, yeah,
online one. No,
yeah.
I'm not talking about your offline.
So
I'm
the
talking about your offline
online
business.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, the one at the beginning of the year, which I lost the job, they were based in Eastern Standard Time. So that
Hmm.
was really crazy because Indonesia is 12 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. So I was like salesman by day, copywriter by night. 9 to 5 in the morning, I was working in my family business,
Yeah.
and 9 at night till 5 in the morning, I was working for the online business,
Wow.
which was a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not easy for family
Yes.
life. I'm sure your wife and
Oh
kids were not
goodness,
loving
man.
that.
Woo, no. And that is why I was disappointed I lost it, but in a way I was kind of glad because it was like really, really, oh, really very taxing.
Yeah.
That was
And
insane. But
and
I
so
gained a lot of experience. I mean, that job, because I had a copy chief, and the copy chief was used to write for this new market health, which I think is a division of Agora,
big.
and he really helped me hone my copy job. I mean, I really wrote a lot of emails for them, and he was like chiefing me, and it was quite a learning experience. So from that angle, it was like very helpful, and
Hmm.
that is why I took the in-house gig, because the repetition you get when you're in-house is like you can't get it when you're a freelancer, unless
Yeah.
you are like filled with gigs. You know?
One thing I know about you is that for sure you're a genuine student of copywriting. You're As long as I've known you, you're always working on something. You're always putting yourself into some kind of a program, and it's always ones where you're getting very direct feedback from people. You've done like Con
Yeah,
Milligan
that's
stuff, you've
important to me.
done other stuff. You're always showing people your work and getting them to criticize it. You don't like, you're not precious. You don't have your ego deep in it. You're always about like, hey, just roast this, tear it apart, and like let me get better.
Yeah, I
Talk
mean, I
about
do
that.
feel like shit. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like shit when I get some brutal feedback. But it's really been a game changer. I cannot emphasize enough how important like getting real feedback from legit players is. Nothing compares, because like I was working for my first client, not my first, my second or third client. He has like a ClickBank offers and all. I was writing emails for him, and I thought I was great. I was good. And 2 years in, I decided, okay, you know what? Let me get on this program. I get like feedback from a well-known writer, from Kyle Milligan.
Hmm.
Can I say the name? Okay.
Yeah, of course
So
you
I
can.
joined Copy Squad. And I started submitting my copy to him, and it was brutal. Really, it was brutal. Like I never realized my copy was like so bad. It was quite an eye opener, and it was like it was so brutal. I decided like I'm not gonna do it again. That's it. This is my last submission. I was like, I can't do this thing. So I stopped submitting, and I stopped submitting like for 2 years. I didn't submit. I didn't partake in anything. Then my wife saw my credit card statement, and he saw this monthly. It's getting charged every month for this copy squad, and he's like, "What is this copy squad thing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a program I joined. They can give you feedback on your copy and all." And yeah, well, are you getting feedback? Are you taking? I was like, "No." So you mean they're charging you for nothing? I was like, "Yeah, kinda." He said, "You are either going to join this thing or you're going to cancel it." So I was like, "Okay, right, that's it. I'm going to join this. I don't want to cancel this thing. It's useful." So I thought, and from then on, I just kept submitting. I ignored like the brutal feedback. Like it was quite for me. It was like, oh crap. I get anxiety because oh my god, I submitted this email to my client, and now this guy is saying it's bad. Oh god. But as time went on, I kept improving, and the conversions from my client, the performance of the emails from my client also started getting better and better and better and better. But it's not like a magic bullet. It takes time to get better at your skills, and it's really something which is worth doing, definitely, to get feedback from people.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way you've just said that, I want to go and get Carl Milligan to roast my writing now.
Oh god, yeah, that was awesome. He's good,
But
man. I mean, he comes from those agora kind of people, like they don't hold back. That's the great thing. That's the one thing I like about Copy Squad, especially when it comes to Kyle Milligan. He is like brutally honest. He will not hold back. on what he thinks about your copy. And it's really something, because I know a lot of people, like I submit the copy and they always start, yeah, oh yeah, that copy is great, that copy is great. And it's like, okay, where's the feedback? You're just complimenting me and you're making me feel good. I don't need feel good shit. If I want to feel good shit, I can go on Netflix and feel good, whatever.
Go buy some ice
I'm here to
cream.
hold my coffee shops. Exactly. Buy some ice cream, whatever. So yeah, the thing with Kyle, the great thing I like about him is really his brutal honesty. He doesn't hold that, and that's really something I appreciate. I I credit at least 90% of my ability to write copy to him. Honestly,
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe
yeah.
90% of your improvements. You're the one who showed up and did the writing.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But he was the one who guided me, and I wouldn't be able to do it. Right? You need guidance. I mean, that's all there is. You really need guidance. It's important.
You do, and you need your ideas challenged. Like one thing I've definitely found is I
Yeah,
spent
for
too
sure,
long
man.
isolating myself and not actually having people who I trusted to get feedback from. And
Mm,
this could be an issue because, your clients, you can definitely ask them for their feedback based on what they know, what's worked before. To some extent, they can help, or they can at least share with you what's
yeah,
worked in the past. But
yeah,
they
that's
they
right.
don't want to get too deep in the weeds on the marketing side because they have other concerns in their business and other stuff that they need to focus their time on. And plus
Yeah,
they're outsourcing it for a reason. They just can't, they haven't got the mental bandwidth for it.
yeah.
So you need to
They're
have
not
people that
exactly
you trust.
copywriters.
Hmm?
Exactly. They're not exactly copywriters either. Like they can't give you proper feedback
Yeah,
unless
all
they
they
have
can
like a
tell you
copy
is what
sheet or
worked
something.
historically. They cannot tell you why.
Yeah, exactly. They can show you what worked, but they can't like critique your copy or anything. Like you submit a copy, oh okay, this no, remove this sucks, whatever. They can't do all that. So yeah, that's
And
right.
what I found is like definitely paying for feedback can be really valuable. But what's also good
Yes.
is just to build those relationships with people who've already been there and done that, like outside of
Yeah.
the paid stuff. Because even in the paid scenarios, like with somebody like you mentioned, Kyle, you're lucky. Kyle is that kind of guy. He's ruthless. He's not going to hold back. You pay him, he's going to roast you. But a lot of people who are in the business of like giving advice and coaching and feedback, they may not be so brutal. They may feel like, hey, there's a fine line to tread between telling this guy the truth of what he needs to hear to improve his work and making sure he
Mm,
don't cancel a subscription. It pays me last month. There's a little bit of a fuzzy gray area with the
yeah,
incentives there.
exactly.
So what's I found to be super valuable is having people in my network who are friends who I trust, who not I'm not going to give them my copy and say review that because their time is valuable too. But when I have like a strategic question, like, hey, I've got this client, they have this situation, we're trying to do this thing. What do you think? And I just had this conversation with a friend of mine today. I've got a client, we've tried something, it didn't work. I was thinking of trying something else. I reached out to him and said, what do you think about this? And he straight was like, no, do not do that. It's going, you've got a like 10% chance of success. I've tried that before. It totally screwed up. Here's what we did. Here's what worked when we tried something similar. You're not going to be able to do things the
Mm,
way you want to. If you can put this to your client, I'm pretty confident this can work for you and your client, but you're going to have to pitch him on the idea. So like he's now given me
mm,
something that I can take back to the client and pitch them, potentially get their buy-in. But I would never, if I'd not gone and asked that question, I would have gone ahead and tried what I thought might work and probably ended up in a
yeah.
situation where I've got egg all over my face in a week or two's time.
So I got a question to ask you actually. How do you manage your time nowadays? Like how many clients do you have right now are you working on and how do you manage
I'm
them like on the
interviewing you.
daily?
You're not interviewing. But I can answer you. I just got to quickly count on my fingers. Who am I working
Sure.
with now? I've got 4
Damn,
active
that's a
clients at the
lot.
moment.
Oh, cool.
And I've got a couple other irons in the fire of people I'm talking to about projects that may be coming and going. And like for me, 3 to 5 is the sweet spot. I got that from Mr. Islam Ben Fifi, and I agree with him. 3 to 5 is a sweet spot. More than that, it gets chaotic. Less than that, it gets risky. You've got your bum hanging out the window, could be, swiped off any moment. So yeah, like 3 is kind of like the bare minimum. 4 is a sweet spot for me. 4 clients is a great space. I've got money coming in from multiple places. You know that at some point one of them's going to leave, but you've always got something to pick up the slack when they do.
Yeah,
And once you
exactly.
just keep the conversations going and are always talking to at least sort of between I want to be talking to 1 to 3 prospects a week, and I want to have 3 to 4 clients active at any time. And when that situation, things are running pretty smooth, and I've got it like that.
And how many hours do you spend in a day working on their projects?
It's hard to know. I mean, this is something I've been investing time and money in lately, is just getting better at more and more productive, and using my
Yeah.
time more effectively, because I definitely waste a lot of time. Like, so this, I've
Oh
been
God.
actively interrogating my time. Like, time,
That is really the struggle.
social
Honestly,
media is the
timing.
hardest one. It really is, because
Yeah.
it's the two-edged sword.
Damn.
It's the source of all the
Oh,
income. It's the source of all the new connections, the source of all the clients. But it's
but it's
also
so
the
distracting.
biggest source of like wasted, of me fucking around and wasting time when I shouldn't. Let's be brutal about this, which I do.
Same.
You
It's
know,
really true.
I and I've got family, I've got a wife. My wife has a business now. The kids are home on their summer vacation. So juggling it all
Oh,
is
okay.
complicated. Having my wife get started a business took up a lot of time last month, and I work a
Um,
lot. And I make time to go to the gym and try and be healthy and stuff. But like, I know that there's 20 hours a week that I could just claw back if I was just more disciplined with time. And I've been I'm in two different programs now, working on different elements. One is more about sort of like personal accountability, and the second one is more specifically about like human performance. And I'm not
mhm.
in any marketing or copywriting program right now. I know those skills always need sharpening, development, but really I've come to a point where I feel like the foundational problem is in my execution and my use of time. And if I can actually
Yeah.
get like a 20% or 30% bump in that, the downstream benefit of that on other things like my copy and my marketing practice will be much it will be amplified. It's leverage. Whereas I think
Mm.
trying to get better at copy and marketing directly right at this moment is not the highest leverage point. It will be again
Right.
later, but my
Right.
use of time and personal performance is where the highest leverage is for me right at this moment.
Time is something I really didn't take into account when I started off. When I started off, it's like, okay, I want to make money as a copywriter, but
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't factor into like how much hours should I work in a day, because like gradually I realized, okay, I'm the only one working here. There's no one helping me. It's like a solopreneur kind of thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to manage my time working on my client work, looking for new clients, and it's really easy for time to bleed. I mean, like if there's one advice for newbies, like you really gotta be like really careful of how you spend your time, because it can just go on. Like you can just spend the whole day writing copy without even thinking of your time, like in front of the
Absolutely.
laptop. Yeah,
And
that's really something which I'm really working on nowadays.
so right now, where are you? You're working with a couple of clients, you're back in doing some
Yeah.
in-house work with an agency, or where are you?
Yeah, so I have one in-house client and another one which is part-time. So I have two clients right now. Both of them are in the health niche. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to focus on that. So yeah, I'm working on two clients right now. But yeah, I mean it's taking up all of my time, especially that I have to juggle, like, I have to juggle my business, like family business, and I have to juggle this. So yeah, I'm not proud to admit it, but it's pretty much the whole day kind of thing. I'm only free after like 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
For that, forget it, man. Like I work from 8 till 8 in the morning because of this. Because one of them is a full house thing, so I kind of have to be there, and the other one is part time, so I can manage it. But yeah, that's it.
That's pretty heavy going. And you said
It
specifically on
is.
health, because you've done a bunch of different stuff. But
Yeah.
like your
Oh my
core
God.
focus in terms of skill is email marketing. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Right now, it is email marketing. That's
And
true.
for when you say health, are you talking about health coaching, fitness? Are you talking about supplements? What areas do you work in?
Supplements. Yeah, right now it's supplements.
So do you want to talk to us a little bit about your work, about like what you do, like what your thoughts are? How do you approach solving problems for clients? Like what, where, if someone wants to get into working in the health space, working on supplements and writing for that
Hmm.
specifically email marketing, what should they be thinking and how should they be sharpening their skills?
How they should be sharpening their skills. One thing that I found really helped me, honestly, was creating a burner email. Is that what you call it? Burner email?
Yeah.
It's just like a specific email address account just for collecting swipes. Like opt into all the direct health supplement response businesses, which is there. Like Agora has got like plenty of them. And like Natural Health Sherpa and all this. Just do it, and every day at least read 5 to 10 of their emails and study them. Like learn how to swipe them. Like suppose there's one thing which I used to do was, if there's an email I like, I would try to take that email, like the email suppose say is about joint pain. I would try to take that email and use it for another sort of health supplement, like say maybe for weight loss, and be able to swipe it basically. That's a practice which really helped me. And another thing which that's actually something which was recommended to me by my copy chief back in my full-time job, and it was really helpful. Another thing which really helped me was to be able to come up with mechanisms for your copy. That's really something. You have to come up with a big idea. You should be able to come up with an angle. Try to come up with 5 angles whenever you look at a sales letter. That's a practice which I would do on the daily. Now I don't do it as much because I'm actually doing it I'm actually getting paid for it. So yeah.
Okay. Hey, these 2 words, mechanism and angle, these are both words that we use a lot in marketing copywriting, and they're words that have slippery definitions. So I would like you to just give your definition of those 2 words, because everyone has a slightly different way of explaining how they mean. It's interesting to hear what people say.
Okay. So it's interesting you asked me that, because today I was just on a call with Kyle. I submitted my copy, and he literally had a very good definition on this. So in his theory, there's 2 things. There's mechanism, which he calls it, which is like we all know about, but there's one thing which is called force of nature. So the difference between these 2 is, mechanism is like if you see an email and you have like this 15-second hack, 15-second trick, or 15-second massage, whatever, that's the mechanism. You have to tease the mechanism. You find out in the sales letter and you just tease it. The force of nature is how it works. Basically, like say a weight loss supplement. Apparently this one weight loss supplement, like, the problem you are not losing weight is because your fat cells in your body cannot open up. And because of that, the fat, no matter how much you exercise or whatever, your fat cells won't open up and you can't flush out fast, right? So that's the force of nature. That's how it works. So once the fat cells open and your fats release, blah, blah, blah. So that's how it works. So you can either tease that, or you can either tease the mechanism, which can be in the form of a trick, a hack, an ingredient. So that's my understanding. So that I always used to get mixed up with those 2, but after getting on that call this morning, that was like, okay, that's quite an eye opener. So you can, when you're writing for health supplement, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not like this veteran 23-year-old experience, whatever. So from what I understand, it is you can either tease either the mechanism or the force of nature.
Mm-hmm. And you specifically, we talked about this at the beginning. I want to come back to it again. A lot of your knowledge of sales comes from the fact that you actually have been selling in person for most of your adult life. So what do you think you've brought from in-person offline sales to online sales and copywriting?
Being able to accept failures, being able to accept no's. One thing which is really parallel, which I find, especially in door-to-door salesmen, you don't get much success, but what success you get is what's going to, help you. So like in email marketing, like, the open rate is like 25%, So same thing with door-to-door salesman, I notice, is like your success is not, at least mine is not. It's like you can't get everyone to open their doors for you, and you can't get everyone to buy from you. Most of them are going to say no to you, especially if the market sucks, if the business is not good. They're not looking to purchase, because I sell to wholesales. I don't sell to people. It's like a B2B. I'm a wholesale. I sell to retails. And sometimes when their business are in a slump and they're not interested, whatever, many reasons why they won't buy. So yeah, there are a lot of no's, but those to get to the yes, there are a lot of no's to get to the yes. That's really something which I learned from door to door. Like you really have to have what do you call it? You call it grit or metal, whatever you want to call it. That's really something which I picked up when I was doing door to door.
Yes. Yeah, you have to
Being
have a
able
brass
to take
neck.
take it in the chin. Excuse me?
A brass neck.
A brass neck. Yeah, okay, fine. A brass neck, brass balls, fine. Call it what you want, man.
Brass balls is American. Brass neck is Irish.
Okay. Irish are more gentle people.
I guess so. And
That's nice. Oh, speaking
with
of Ireland,
yeah,
Ronan Keating is in Indonesia right now.
he's huge over there, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Isn't he? He's from Ireland, right?
yeah, he's from Dublin, I'm pretty sure. He
Oh, okay.
his band Boyzone, and now him as a solo singer, and the other band that they kind of
Yeah.
came after them, which is Westlife, they both come out of the same production stable, you know, the same studios.
Oh,
They're both
oh, that's
creations of
nice.
the same kind of like pop music mogul guy is the best way to describe him. He's like the Irish kind of version of that Simon Cowell. Like he puts together these boy bands and he markets and promotes them and has been very successful doing
Mm.
it. And they both seem to have had their biggest successes in Asia, where they've like long after they
Oh,
left the pop
yeah.
charts in this part of the world, they've been on these never-ending
Yeah.
tours, just collecting
They
millions
have a
upon
huge
millions.
fan base in Southeast Asia, especially in Indonesia. Huge fan base.
It's crazy. It's totally
It
wild.
is. It is. Mhm.
And have you, going the opposite way back, have you taken things you've learned from copywriting and brought them back to your offline business? Have you like implemented email marketing
Hmm.
or any of the kind of like direct response lead
That's
generation
interesting.
methods into your offline business, or is that not possible?
That's actually a pretty interesting question. I've thought about this and I've been trying to implement it, but the thing is, the way we do our business in our local business is very, very, very uh backwards, I should say. Like we are still using pen and paper. Like we have an internet connection in the office, but it's just for accepting emails. We don't have any all this like email marketing and all that. I mean, like because the thing is, we are wholesales and we cater to retail textiles, and it's quite a small demographic. There's like not much. Our customers have very long, what do you call, lifetime value, because they
Mm-hmm.
have been very old and it's like very selective. We don't. There's not a lot of it really. So they've been with us for like 20, 30 years. So they've already known us since like back in the days. A lot of them are old, and there are not many new players as well. So it's just the same customers that we visit. So I
Okay.
don't know how to make that work in that sense. Yeah.
Me neither. You probably want to talk to some
Exactly,
of
man. It's
the
a
more
totally
old school
different ball
guys.
game. Exactly. It's a totally different ball game.
And do you now at this point, like I know we've talked about this before, are you like anywhere coming to the point where at some point you're going to say, hey, this offline business, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm completely 100% online and copywriting is it for me.
Oh yeah. Honestly, it's getting closer and closer because believe it or not, for the first time, I'm announcing this in John Caprani's live call. I'm finally making more than I do in my offline business from my
Fantastic.
corporate. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that's like, oh, awesome. Now I can finally make this work. All I need is to, sometime I need to have some savings before I
Mhm.
leave that job, because the thing is, anything can happen, right? One day you have two clients, another day you don't have. So my thinking is, let me have a safety net, let me collect enough safety net, and then I'm gonna have the top,
Yeah.
basically, and finally.
Yeah. You
So when
need
that
6 to 12
happens,
months
it's
of
all
living
that way awesome.
expenses before you can make a move like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing.
I mean, if we were
Yeah.
young single guys with no wives or families, we could just say,
Oh,
see you later, I'm out of here. And I'll go sleep on
honestly,
my buddy's
man,
couch. But that doesn't work
seriously.
when you're in your
Honestly,
40s.
that's like one of my biggest regrets is like back when I was in my 20s, I wished I knew copywriting. I wished I worked hard enough, but I was just being a lazy ass. Like, man, just watch The Office. I used to binge watch The Office. I used to binge watch Parks and Recreation, Seinfeld. I was just watching TV. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was wasting my
Oh,
20s. I
that's your
swear to God, I was
foundational
really
knowledge for
wasting.
being a good copywriter now. And
Is
because
it?
yeah, because this is
How
what
is
I want
that
to talk
possible?
about. There's very few people
That's
I know
interesting.
who can do humor, who can add humor into their copy and do humorous writing well. And I've seen you do this many times, and I've told you this many times. Like most copywriters,
Mm,
the ones who are really effective. And I know people say, oh, it's serious business, it's money, you shouldn't be adding humor. But some people can add humor into copy very well. And you're one of the few people I know who actually can work humor into your writing, and very effectively.
Yeah,
And
I think you're right. I think I have to credit all those binge watching sitcoms and all that. Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it, but
you got
yeah,
to
thanks
thank
for
Jerry
connecting the dots
Seinfeld
there.
for that.
Jerry Seinfeld, oh man, this
And
guy
Larry
has come to
David.
Netflix. I was like, the day Seinfeld came to Netflix, so I was like, all right, awesome. I like binge watch it on. I don't know how many times I've binge watched Seinfeld from the first season until I don't know. I think it was the ninth season, or I don't remember. Endless.
And I honestly think for you, and I've said this to you for years now, like that thing, the fact that you can bring humor to your writing is something that very few people have. And it's if you find the right clients to work with and you position yourself right,
Yeah,
it's a competitive advantage for you. Because some businesses
definitely.
do have a humorous element to them, or they do have a lighthearted
Mm,
approach. And I think you're somebody who's super effective at doing that. Where a lot of copywriters who are more very much like, let's maximize the conversions, don't really see that. They're just more about like, let's twist all the knives and push all the buttons we can. Let's push that guilt button and that shame button as hard as we can. But there's a space
yeah,
for both approaches.
yeah. There is. I guess there is. But the thing with the humor is some clients, my humor is kind of, I don't know how to say it, but sometimes it doesn't go well with the clients who actually have, some of these e-com companies, they have these smart, funny wordings and they play wordplay and all that. I can't really do that. I've tried doing it, but it's really a pain in the ass, honestly. So I tend to do humor in my post mostly to grab attention, and I do humor in my email list, which is not really very active because, well, I work like 12 hours a day. I have no energy to update my email list. It's been such a long time. Oh my God.
What
So yeah,
once a
I
month
use my
even,
humor for
I
my
missed
own
those emails.
personal
They were good
use.
emails. Hang on, no, those were good emails. You had an email list. Those were good emails. I read those emails,
Yeah.
and I don't read anybody's emails apart from a couple of people.
Mm,
You should
thanks,
write them
man. Means a
again.
lot. Means a lot. I should. But yeah, I mean, who's gonna write for my clients if I start doing that?
True. Oh, well,
Yeah,
and
I should.
we're going to wrap up in a minute because I gotta go
Sure.
pick up my wife from her business, and I gotta do some more writing for my own clients. Um,
Sure.
I got notifications flashing all around me. I wish I didn't. But I wanted to ask you um, about the AI and ChatGPT thing. And I know it's boring to ask about this, but I just think it's worth talking about
Mm-hmm.
because it is having an
Sure.
effect. There's no doubt. Like, I've
Yeah.
been lucky that I've really focused on building my network, having good clients, good referrals, and I'm still getting new business coming to me. But I've heard lots of people
Mm-hmm.
saying that like they're finding it tougher. It's harder to negotiate fees. Their clients'
Yep.
expectations are much higher. The lead times clients are allowing are shorter now because the clients are assuming that everyone's using ChatGPT to bang stuff out quickly. So, what have your experience been
Mm.
with using it so far, and what do you think?
My experience with ChatGPT started pretty much when I got my second client, and on the interview, onboarding call, he literally asked me, "Have you used ChatGPT?" I said, "I played around with it." He said, "Look, if you're gonna work for me, you better use ChatGPT because we really need to like crank out email copy real fast. It's you know what, do whatever you have to do to get up to speed because we will need that. We create like endless variations of like emails. Like we'll take a few email copies which are converting well, put in ChatGPT to produce another copy for another product. This is happening quite a lot when you are writing email swipes nowadays. A lot, especially in the health supplements. Like
So, just pause there for a
Stefan.
moment,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, sure.
So
Yeah,
what you're saying is you're finding an email that's been successful in one niche or for one offer, and say, like, for
yeah,
example, you said a joint supplement, and this one's a blood sugar supplement or a weight loss supplement. You say you're taking that, pasting it ChatGPT and saying, hey, take the structure, the framework of this, and rewrite it
yeah.
for this type of supplement.
Yes, 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 and yes. So, do you know this group Stefan created called AI Marketers?
I've heard of it. Steph and Georgie did that one. Is that right? I
Yeah.
know. Sorry, George.
So there
I'm
is one
terrible for
video there.
mispronouncing
Seven
everyone's
George.
names. Your name is not Suraj
So
either. I know
awesome dude.
that.
Yeah, well, I've kind of like given up on trying to make people, right, pronounce it. Nobody can do it. Forget it. Anyway, so in his group, Mario Castelli, his
Yeah,
partner, made
good
an
guy.
awesome video where he took 3 Facebook ads, put in ChatGPT, and told ChatGPT, look, you're gonna pretend like you're a world-class copywriter. I'm gonna give you 3 Facebook ads, read them, study them. Don't tell me what you think about it. Just let me know once you've studied them, and I'll give you further instructions. And he put like 3 Facebook ads, and the chat was saying, "Okay, I've studied this." And he said, "Write an ad in a similar structure about blah 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 blah." And the chat GPT just produced. And I'm doing that same thing for emails, basically. Like the tutorial is pretty much there for free in AI marketers, and that's how you can use ChatGPT to pretty much. And yeah, you do need to edit them. But what I'm doing now, I'm taking it a step further. What I'm doing now is I take that whatever the email they produce, I edit them, and then I put it back in ChatGPT, and I tell them, hey, look, I edited your email. This is how it is. Study it. Now write me a similar email for this thing. And the email that it produces is pretty close. The quality is pretty good. It gets better. It
Amazing.
understands fast, I guess.
So
Yeah.
this is how you're getting out 5 different variations on one idea in quick time.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, definitely. That's possible. You just give it the right commands. But the thing is, you can only, like, it'll give you copy, which is not perfect. You still need to edit it, which is where you come in at the end. So if you are not a good copywriter, ChatGPT can't do much for you. You still have to know the foundations. Like, you still got to know what's wrong with this email. Like, welcome, I asked for it to write a welcome email, and it was really great. It was like very hyper, but there was like so many frivolous words, so much fluff, so much like wordplay, when it should be like direct, clean, and concise. So in the end, I took that thing and I had to edit it again. This is something which I feel like, if you don't understand copywriting, you will not be able to do this.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
agree.
the human factor, which is important as well.
Well, copy editing has become a far more valuable skill than it used to be.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's become more of the balance of all of our work. Like, I'm certainly
Yep.
using ChatGPT to help me with research and first drafts a lot. But you're not handling something that ChatGPT spits out to a client just yet. You're still spending a substantial amount of time editing it, or you're
Yeah,
using it as a starting point for your own ideas. But there
definitely.
is going to come a point sooner or later where just this thing is so smart, it's getting smarter. People say, oh, it's getting dumber, or it's not that good, or blah blah. That's all cope. There's going to come a point
Mm.
sooner or later where it's better than all of us, or it's as good, or it's like a horrible sort of cyborg Frankenstein creature of Gary Halbert and Gary
Mm.
Pennsylvania and Kyle Milligan and 100 other great people, you know.
Yeah.
And at that point,
That's
we're
why I think
really
it's important. Like, if you're a copywriter, you should not just. This is something which I am planning to do. It's like, you should not just focus on emails. Emails are great, but you should try to be able to master basically the whole funnel from the top to the bottom. Basically, become a full stack marketer or copywriter. That way, you become indispensable, not just from a copywriting point of view, but from a marketing point of view. You can give marketing ideas, you can give strategies. So
yeah.
it's about being more than just a copywriter.
Copywriting is fantastic foundational skill, but it's not a business
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Mm.
There has to be, for you to be of high value to the people you work with long term, you cannot just be somebody who
Yeah,
writes for them.
definitely.
You have to be bringing strategic ideas to the table, and you have to be bringing new creative concepts to the table, or
Yeah,
you will not last.
yeah, definitely. And you can only get that from experience, unfortunately.
Yeah. And like the idea, like the creativity for new ideas is one of the last remaining advantages we do have over AI.
Yeah.
And that may not last either. We just don't know.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
the only thing I think that saves us long term is that people do want to work with people and do business with people.
Yeah, that's true.
The difficulty there is that people who start to use these tools become like cyborgs. They become a halfway point between people and machines. They become incredibly efficient and productive. And the people who get best at doing this, can generate so much high quality output that they can smother large sections of the market and basically it's like the top of the pyramid is getting steeper and narrower all the time.
Yeah, that's there. But until then, let's see. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. This thing can go anywhere. Like, you can't predict the future. I mean, like, just like 1, 2 years, forget 1, 2 years, like months ago, there was like no chat GPT, no AI in the scene. And now it just came out of nowhere and it's like everywhere. Everyone's using it. So we
Well,
don't know
people have
where
been
it's
talking
going to go
about
anyway.
this for my whole lifetime, at least. People who are
Is
interested in
it?
this stuff. Yeah. Like
Oh,
the
okay.
idea of, I
That's
mean, think about it.
interesting.
You were watching Star Trek Next Generation back in the 90s. I was. And like Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Data, the character from Mr. Data, like the android who's trying to be a human. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
that, like ChatGPT to me is sort of in some sense, a kind of an outgrowth of that type of thinking, of like that science fiction thinking of like, nerds who say, what if? And engineers who've got the technical
Mm-hmm.
skills to turn these kind of fictional ideas into reality. And like the writings of science fiction guys like Philip K. Dick, especially. Um, so people have been thinking and talking for a long time, but like, yeah, last year, if we'd been saying this year we're going to be using tools at this level of competence and capability, I don't
Yeah,
think anyone would have believed that it was just around the corner.
exactly.
So whatever
Exactly.
comes next is going to blindside us too, for sure. And
Exactly.
it's going to change things in ways we can't yet predict.
It's just a matter of who is able to adapt the fastest, really. I mean, they're the ones who's gonna make the most money and become successful and all that.
Great thing to finish out this conversation on: adaptability. Because I have quite a few
Adaptability,
friends who are a
exactly,
lot
man.
younger than me in the industry, who are in their 20s. And for them, they don't have any specific responsibilities. They're not married, mostly single guys who live in their own place.
Yep.
And they can change. They can turn their whole life upside down at the click of their fingers if they want to. For
Yeah.
us, being guys in our 40s with families, a lot of responsibilities on our back, not so easy to do. But at the same
Like
time, we are in an
dinosaurs.
industry where adaptability and willingness to change with the market is a key thing that makes people valuable. And you can't allow
Hmm.
yourself to get too stale or too stiff. So, what
Yeah,
are
you
your
can't.
thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's like either you adapt or you die, I guess. You have to adapt. There's really no choice. I mean, yeah, when it comes to like our age, kind of like harder maybe for us to adapt so fast, like 20-year-olds. But I think we have advantage that, like, as far as like business sense and how to talk to people, like uh we have more maturity from that point of view, and we have more life experience, so we know we can we have better insight, I guess. Like, okay, yeah, this has happened to our life before, so I think this is happening again, let's not do this. We tend to be able to avoid the mistakes that we have done in the past. Basically, I'm kind of being vague, but I don't know, I hope I get my point across here.
Okay.
So in
Hey,
that
Suraj,
sense, yeah.
it's been a super nice pleasure talking to you today, because we haven't had a call in a while.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
so I'm going to wrap up and stop the recording just a moment, but I would like you to tell people how to find you and talk to you if they want to either A, just connect with you and get to know you, or B, potentially hire you for some work on their health supplement funnels.
Sure, connect with me on Facebook. I'm right there.
Yes, and I'll leave the link to your Facebook profile in the description of this video. Final
Sure.
thoughts?
It's been awesome. It's been nice talking to you. It feels like it's 2020 and COVID is in the air.
that doesn't sound very nice at all, really.
Trust me, when COVID came, it was very nice because I hated my job. So I was like so glad I could be home and learn copywriting and doing what I love. So for me, that was
Okay.
like, oh, so awesome, man. I wish
COVID,
that
not
was shut
much
down and I
changed for
can be at
me.
home again.
Like
Is
I'd
it?
already been doing this for about 18 months before. So
I remember during COVID, you had a hard time looking for a house, and now you
yeah,
have such a nice house, man. That's like,
I
wow.
do. It's a blessing. I'm very grateful
You
for
were
it.
staying in a hotel.
We were living in a hotel that year. Yeah, it was a
Oh
funny
God,
year. It
man.
was a nice hotel, but it was pretty, it wasn't
Yeah, it
secure.
was. Exactly. You're like, oh man, I can't look for a house. I went here, but we just I remember all that, man. That was like, oh God, man. I hope this guy finds a house soon.
Yeah, been very blessed that way. We've a great place to live now.
Indeed, indeed, man. Indeed.
Okay, Suraj, it's been great talking to you, and I just want to see you being more
Sure,
and more
man.
successful and more well known, and more people talking
Same to
about you
you.
and giving you plenty of money.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.